right, we are on Taharot, Perek Zayin, Mishnah Aleph. And we're going to talk in this chapter and in the next chapter what's called an Am Haaretz. Am Haaretz is someone who's not particularly Am Haaretz. Here we go. Someone who's not particularly meticulous, like a chaver. We have a chaver. Okay, a chaver is someone who's like the word means friend, but it doesn't mean that here. It means someone who's meticulous about Tumah and Tara, as opposed to Am Haaretz, we're not. And the Kati notes that the begadim, the clothing of Am Haaretz, were tamei midras. They had the status of tumat midras vis-a-vis the chaver. Meaning, if you touched it, then he would make you tamei, because you were a chaver was very, very careful, okay, about leaving his stuff, and therefore, if a chaver about keeping his stuff tahor. But if he left his stuff around, that would be bad. So says the Mishnah, Kadar is a pottery owner, from Gedera, the guy who makes sells pottery. Sheinicha Kederotav, he left his pots. And he went to get a drink or whatever. Okay, now he left them. This pot salesman, who's the chaver? He left his stuff. If you've ever been in the shuk, they take all their stuff out of the store and leave it on their wares in the Reshut Rabim, in the shuk, so people can see them. But they would put at the sides of the street, of the shuk, these big rocks, or these stakes, in order to distance the carriage that would go by, so that they wouldn't damage the walls. Meaning they would have, I guess, like if you think about it, they put these, when you drive by, they have these stakes in the ground with these big rocks to make sure that the cars don't bang into them. So these things are the edges of Reshut Rabim. So the guy, the pottery guy, would leave his pots in between these big rocks or whatever, so people would sell them or see them, they would come along. Okay? He left his gederot in between them. Made it even squishier. And since it's very tight, the people that pass by, they bump into them. And their clothes pass over the air of these pots. And as we know, the clothing of an Am Haaretz is tamei, not lavdav, or rather tamei vis-a-vis the items of pottery of the chaver. So therefore they make them tamei. That's what the Mishnah says. Okay, the kadar. So he left his pots basically on the street at the lip of the edge of his shop, which is came out on the street, in the street. So he left his pots. We have other shelter, went to drink, so he can't guard and make sure that nobody touches his stuff. Tahorot. The inner ones that are closer to the shop, that are not next to the street, are tahorot. But v'achitzonot tameot. The outside ones are tameot. They're tamei because we assume that the Am Haaretz passed over them. We have to worry maybe his clothing was passing on them and touched them and made them tamei. Amar Rabbi Yosei, said Rabbi Yossi. When is that true? B'mutarot. Mutarot means untied, unbundled. Aval ba'agudot, but if they're in bundles, hakol tahor. They're all bundled. Why? So there's a bunch of different reasons why that would be true. Okay, mutarot, the Bartanura says, why? Because ovrim v'shavim, people who pass by, misitim otam, they move them. Aval ba'agudot, but if they're tied up, she'if shar la'asitam, they're not movable. There's no tumat hesed, they don't bump into them. Then hakol tahor. So Rabbi Yossi seems to say that the chashash wasn't of oeb, was of moving them. The Kati mentioned other explanations who say that when they're bundled up, they're tied together, they're close, so they can't become tamei. Similarly, if you give your key to your house, la'am haaretz, you ask him to watch your key, habayit tahor, you can assume that the house is still tahor. Shalom asar lo, because you gave him to watch, you only gave it to him to watch the key. You didn't give it to him assuming he's going to walk into your house. Lo sam chadaita likanes, he's not going to enter your house. You're going to think that he's stealing. Meaning, he said, can you hold my key, watch my key? The keys were pretty big then. You don't have to assume that the guy went into your house. We'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha Ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.